Everyone, welcome into episode 93 of Coffee and Chel, joined as always by Stewie and Brent, as well as a new, member of the crew. In the background, our boy Benny, or Uninstall, if you play competitive NHL or have seen him streaming out west. Benny is going to be joining the show to produce and make content for it. So if you've seen any of the YouTube shorts and like TikToks and like little clips on Twitter, hopefully you've enjoyed them, and more will come as Benny. So we'll start first with Benny. Benny, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing great, doing great. Happy to join the pod. Obviously a big fan of the show for a while, so happy to join on. Just I guess I'll explain a little bit what I do.
Yeah.
If you've seen any of the Twitter clips or anything like that, those are edited by yours truly. And so we're just gonna try to keep posting those as the year goes on. I know it's hard for people to sit down or listen to an hour long podcast, so
Mm-hmm.
Being able to chop it up to
Your
a couple minutes of
generation
clips.
has a
I
hard
know, I
time
know.
listening
I'm
for an
so
hour.
that's I'll take
TikTok generation.
I'll take partial blame for that. But yeah, because I'm one of them as well. So yeah, adding clips I think is just another way to reach a bigger audience, and so I thought I could help out with the pod like that.
No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
he brings the age of the podcast down by about like 10 years, so that's
It is
great
good.
too.
That
And
does
if
nice.
if Benny wins GWC, which like Benny's got a really good shot. I mean, people that watch him stream, you got to watch him uninstall. He's a stud, and he and it's funny because people knock the West Coast, but Benny went over to Toronto, and it was his birthday weekend, and he gave the boys a bunch of beatdowns on the Bell Fiber connection, and
The Bell 5 connection.
if Benny wins GWC, I mean then
we got a winner.
Then we win.
Then we
So,
win. That's
Exactly.
it. That's it.
And we split the earnings too, which
Oh,
is the
yeah,
best
yeah.
part.
That's the best.
Hey, I'm the reason
Like
why
you need it.
I'm the main
Royalties.
reason why Benny went from PlayStation to Xbox too. I was like,
We're
Benny,
gonna-
you gotta go. 'Cause
We are going
I
to get
knew
into
Benny-
that.
Yeah, so
Spoiler alert. But just to tell everyone, so you actually go to school. What do you go to school for?
So I go to school for radio and television. I'm in my first semester right now, and I go into a branch after the semester. So I'm gonna take the radio route. And so I'm around a lot of editing stuff, a lot of on-air stuff. I've been kind of screwing around a bunch of radio studios. It's been something I really enjoy. I think I'm week 7 into my first semester right now. So just having a big time there. It's been a blast.
Love that. All right. So we've heard from from Youngblood. Fellas, let's go over our week that was. We'll spend a couple minutes discussing what it's like to be old. So last time we started with Brent. So Stu, what have you been up to family wise?
not much. Just we've been doing a lot of going outside now that the weather's good. We're just playing. We bought that swing set last year, so the kids have been on that a lot, and getting the yard work ready, the old man yard work. I'm dreading it, but it's got to get done. And the weather, the St. Louis weather is very weird. I know you guys don't live here, but like 1 week it'll be like great, and then like tomorrow night I think it's gonna be down to the 20s again. So it's like 75 today, and it's gonna be down to the 20s. And so people always wonder like why we're like, oh, you feel like congested or sick. It's like, yeah, because like one day it's like spring and the next day it's back to winter, and it's like you just go up and down. Like anybody on the podcast or any listeners out there that are from St. Louis, you'll know what I'm talking about. I mean, I've seen snow in like April before, and like I'm sure maybe you guys have in Canada. I don't know, but it's
I've
like
seen it in
weird
May.
for us. It's weird for us. I feel like because we're so south compared to you guys. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like unusual, but yeah. So we've been going outside a lot, doing a lot of stuff with the kids, and yeah, just my typical men's league stuff and skating, and I just can't believe how sore I get now after I play these games. I play these like intense men's league games, and I'm like, next day I'm like, I'm really starting to feel it now.
Where are you feeling it? Where are you feeling it specifically?
It's just always the hips, like because and luckily I've never had any hip surgeries and stuff. Like I know the guy that two of the guys that you met up in All-Star game,
KBG?
Coach Wapple and KBG. Yeah, KBG plays in my men's league, and he's had multiple hip surgeries. I know Wapple, I think, might have had some hip. Like, it's just a goalie thing. And I haven't had any, like, surgeries, so knock on wood or anything. And I just go to the chiropractor to try to, like, it just tightens up. I'm sure, Brent, you feel the same probably after you play your games. By the way,
it's my wrists, if than anything, that get like
Really?
over time. Like I
From
feel
all
like my
that
wrists are
sniping.
bothering the
All
hell
that
out of me.
sniping,
All
yeah,
that
dude. All that
sniping.
sniping.
Dude, Brent, it's funny. I saw a video of the rink you were telling me about, the 3-on-3 rink online.
Yeah.
Like I didn't we don't have that down here, so it was pretty cool. It's like a legit, like there's benches and like it's
Oh, it's like basically like 66% the size of a standard rink.
That'd be
Yeah.
sick.
It's awesome. It is so much fun. Like the thing is with it, I will never go back to playing 5-on-5. It is that much more fun, especially as a D man, because you can jump up in the play so often. It's like for me, like because I play only defense. Well, I'm basically like I've said, a poor man's Makar, where like I have the shot, I have like the straight line speed, but I have zero edge work anymore.
Going
Over
left and
time,
right?
my edges
Yeah.
are terrible. It was actually funny. I was actually going to mention when, for me this week, like nothing too fancy happened in the family, but like every dad that plays beer league knows, like there's family right up here, and then right below it is beer league in terms of
yeah.
like priorities. And so for me, like we had this like our main goalie for the last like 5 years. When I first made my team, we had this like our goalie was like our best player on our team, like easily the MVP. Like we would go like basically undefeated with him no matter what. Unless he didn't play, then we'd lose. Anyways, so the start of this season, he ended up quitting, and we're like, oh, what the hell? He's like, no, I want to go play 5-on-5. I want to have like higher competition. I'm like, okay, man, like whatever, okay, fine. Although I'm like, no joke, like with us, he's around like 140-0, like in the 5 years, like he was that good. And so he went to 5-on-5. We didn't hear anything from him. I didn't like message him. Like I messaged him. Like I was like, hey, do you want to spare a couple times? He's like, nah, man, can't play. I'm like, okay. All of a sudden, like I'm leaving like 3 weeks ago, leaving from my game. All of a sudden, I see like on a different team. Like, what? I was like, what the hell? That's him. I was like, well, that's my goalie. What the hell is he doing? He's playing for another team right now. And so one of my guys on my team messaged him. He goes, hey, man, what are you doing? He's like, oh no, I was using the goalie app, and I got paid to play this game. And I was like,
that's
oh, okay,
sick.
that's fine.
There's
Then
an
the
app
week-
for that?
There's an app. It's called Goalie Up.
There's one in Southern Ontario, and it's like really big.
Yeah.
What
So
in the
basically, like,
world?
I think
how it
Endo's
works
on
is,
it.
like,
I
you
think
can
Endo
rank
uses
yourself.
it.
Like it's like Div 1 to 6, and there's different like factors. If you played like Junior A, you're a Div 1. Junior B, you're a Div 2. Triple A, you're a Div 3. Like yada yada. Anyway, so basically, you get paid like $40 a game to play.
Dude,
And so
what in
then
the world?
a week later,
Sign me
I
up for
see him
this.
playing for the same team, and I was like, what's going on here? And then my friend messaged him again, goes, hey, like, are you like their new goalie? He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna like play for them now. And I was like, you son of a bitch!
Oh
Like,
no, he left you.
this was against our like one of our biggest rivals too, and I was like, no way. And so last week we ended up playing against that team, and he's playing in net for them. And I was like, okay, guys, like we need to lock in here. And pre-game, one of the guys on my team goes and like talks to him like during the warm-up and
Till
goes
like
like,
collapse comes on in the locker in the dressing room. Oh yeah, dude.
yeah, pretty much. And then so my friend said to him, like, hey, so like, how you doing? He goes, and it ends up coming up the topic of me for some reason. And my old goalie says, like, either Brent's gonna score 0 or he's gonna score 5. It's gonna be one or the other. Because like the thing with him is like if he lets in a couple, it gets into his head, and all of a sudden the floodgates open. But that like never happens. So we're like down 7-4 going to the third, and I'm no joke. I've probably taken about like 18 shots on net, and I haven't gotten one yet. And I'm like losing my mind. I'm like hammering clappers on him, like from decently close in. And then all of a sudden, I get a 1T that goes in, and then the floodgates open. In the next 3 minutes, I scored 4 goals.
Let's go. There you go.
And then we lost in a shootout, and I was
Oh,
like, okay, well
that's
then,
tough.
all for nothing.
Dude, we need to have. I know you and Benny and your boy Frank and Pens had like a meetup this summer, and you guys like skated.
Yes.
I want to have so bad. Me, like you, Benny, like anybody, like Pet Dave, like I want like a community hockey event so bad. But it'd be even cool to like have something where if there was some like tournament we could like go to and just have like fun. For
I
a
bet you
weekend or
Nashville will
something.
do a roller one when heat waves.
Yeah,
done.
but dude, I hate roller goalie.
I've actually never
Oh,
played
you'd have to
roller
play
before.
out. You'd have to play out. Yeah.
Oh, I play out in my roller league. I love it, but it's just roller goalie's brutal. But
In
yeah,
the states, your goalies aren't on rollerblades, right?
yeah, they are.
Dude, that's wild.
They have like little wheels like this.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Because I played
but
roller.
I mean, but you can't slide. So they put these like you can put sliders like on the side of your pads,
Yeah.
but it doesn't do the same.
Yeah,
Like,
dude,
my
that's
whole
just.
game is like
How do your
like-
knees
like-
not blow out?
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Bro, you go down and then try to reach? Oh, God.
Yeah.
That just feels like
my
your
whole
ACL's
game
waiting
is
to tear.
like down. My whole game's like movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I can't like play stand up. But
Oh, my God. That's
anyways,
gross.
What would you do, Sleazy? With this
Dude,
weekend?
today, my wife has been on the hunt for like daycare.
gosh,
Landon's now
yeah.
7 months old, and yeah, so she sent me this one that was $1,600 a month, and I looked at her like, yo,
For 5 days a week.
yo, is that coming with like a college degree? Yeah. So, anyways, and I guess it was a Montessori school, so like it was good, but the like normal ones that are in our area, it was kind of far away, so we'd have to drop off and like that. Skylar goes back to work in August, and so he brought my son, and we found like a private one. It was this lady at a house, and she like has like a bunch of like testimonies. They're all great. So like we went, and like she has this really nice house, has like a backyard with like a fenced in thing, and like another mini fenced in thing where it's like a playground. And she had like 5 kids there while we were there, like, you know, meeting her and whatnot. And I just like, man, my little guy's gonna be like running around and like doing stuff. I don't know, it got to me a little bit, but it was pretty good, and it was a little bit cheaper than $1,600 a month, thank God. But basically, what it ends up being is that like what Skyla made on EI and mat leave, for anyone in the States, mat leave you get in Canada for a year. It's like it's probably one of the biggest benefits that Canadians get over Americans. In general, because Stu, your wife, when she was off, you got like what, 3 weeks? Like you get like
it's like a couple weeks. It's not that much.
Yo, Brett, could you imagine?
No, it's just
I don't know how
dude,
Americans
the
do.
fact is, though, you have to pay for like going
Yeah.
into the hospital and stuff. Like here's your baby and the bill.
Like, dude, like yeah. Childbirth in the States
No, thank
compared to
you.
Canada is just, it's not like that's where that's one of like the night and day like things. Because yeah, Skyle's been off for a year, so basically, and she gets paid, I think it was like 60% of her wage for the
Half,
year.
yeah.
Yeah, but
So
half.
you get to pick between two. You get to pick half for 12 months or a third,
Third
for 18.
We just did the 1 year, and so basically it's the same difference. So she basically, when when she goes back to work, basically the same difference to go to daycare than what she's making. But so anyways, that was that. And all right, let's get into some things. I've got a bunch of things I want to talk about here. First things first, as the title states, they brought back community requests, and this has been a thing in Hut for like 2 years, I think. But it's never been this formal. They did like a banner today in Hut. Like if you log into Hockey Ultimate Team, it literally says community requests. There's no QR code, which I thought was kind of odd. But it tells you to go to the forums, which is so archaic, but without a new Discord, that just never happened. The only place to do it is on the forums, because that's like EA sanctioned, I guess would be the way to say it. And there's like a vote now. So there's like 10 players that were put up for as a vote, and now you can go vote on them, and we'll see how many. I don't know how many they're picking. I'm sure it says it, but curious to get your thoughts on that if you took a look at it. I know Stu did just briefly, but what are your thoughts? We'll start with you, Stu. What are your thoughts on the community requests, and do you think it's good, or what do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, anything to get the community involved, I think, is a win because of just the lack of involvement they've had over the years. And the picks, I guess, I voted
They're
on Tyler
hilarious.
Myers. I did Tyler Myers, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could have done Pronger too, I guess. But he already has some cards, so I was just like, all right, I'm gonna do Tyler Myers just for fun. But I don't know, like what kind of card do you think it's gonna be released for it? Is it gonna be like a good one, or is it
I
gonna
think
like,
they'll probably look like those balloon art, like the Talkit and Redden. You know, it's like
Okay.
the balloon art. It'll be like community request options. I saw some funny ones. There's like Arbor Jack guy.
he was leading?
At least they're doing some good picks in terms of like it's like kind of like like
it's
cool
super
players
obscure.
to
A lot of
choose.
them are
Yeah.
obscure. And then there's like the clearly this is for a competitive edge in Hut, which is lame. But like, at least they're doing something like that. I hope they give them custom builds. But I don't know like what overall they'll make, because if we end up with like everyone's gonna say like Ben Bishop like in the future ones, because this is gonna be going on now regularly, it looks like. And I just hope we don't see like the same things over and over again. I also hope that we don't just get Vancouver and Montreal players, because like I have a feeling that like the Vancouver fan base is pretty big right now, and same with obviously Montreal.
So it's narrowed down to 10 players. So now it's 10 players per pool, and you pick between like a couple.
Yeah,
Is that
there's
how
like
it
a
works?
few. Yeah, on the actual website. So I think it's something that should be around all year round. I do. And let me ask you this: who do you want if you're a community request? It's not on the list. It's not a vote, and you had a chance to make a card. Who's the card, and what's the abilities?
I'm not gonna lie, like to me, I don't mind like the crazy like players they can add in. Like for me, it'd be hilarious to have an Elmer Soderblom like nasty card, 6'8" center
Delete
with some
edges or
like
something.
gold edges, silver snappy. Just make him just. I don't like because at this point in the year, like I don't like it doesn't matter anymore. So, like GWC is nearly over, especially for the hut portion. Just I don't know, just go wild. It doesn't like at this point in the year. Like obviously you don't want to have like a Soderblom 6'8" center in November. That's just ridiculous. But like, as soon as like the GWC season is over for hut, like I don't go wild. Like just do whatever. I like the art. Like personally, I like the archaic kind of style where it's like just all of a sudden the towers start coming out. I don't know, like because like
They
a guy
do
that's like
start
5'10"
coming out quite a
to
bit.
me, yeah, like, sorry, if a random 5'10" guy doesn't matter what the name is. Maybe besides Pavel Bure, you're gonna be like, whatever. It's just another mid-sized card.
Stu,
But
who
basically,
would
at least
you
to
get?
me, edges and snappy.
I guess if they have to be in the game, because if they're not in the game, I'd pick like somebody like Datsuk or Beret.
Oh yeah, they have to be in the game. Yeah, NHL license. Yeah.
Game. I don't know.
Do it a
Let's
Barbashev.
just do
You
Robert
lo-
Thomas.
You love Robert Thomas. Well, how would you make Robert Thomas good?
Give him like face offs, like his.
Dude, he's actually nasty in the draw.
He's not. Yeah, like I don't know. It's like I can't use Thomas because his cards or whatever. Like I don't know. I'd probably do like a sick Petro or something because I love Petro. Actually, do like a sick Patty Maroon just because he's slow.
There you go. I would love to see a juiced Patrick Marleau. We haven't got a good Marleau card yet. Or a usable Douglas Murray. I think that would be a usable Douglas
Benny,
Murray.
who would you pick?
Yeah, who would you pick?
I'd go probably my favorite player is Zach Hyman. I think Zach Hyman always has like the
Oiler
weird
fan.
cards. Yeah, of course, right? So like I feel like his cards are always really weird. Like he's not high enough speed for like a decent like meatball build. So I
He's
feel like
mid all year kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah, exactly. Like, and he's almost at 40 goals already. So, like, I mean, like, giving him a good card, like,
He has one more than Pasternak, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Isn't
it's
that
crazy.
wild?
He's the new fire hydrant.
The
Holy,
McDavid effect. Yeah.
Dude, McDavid is just a different animal. All right, so yeah, so the community requests are back again. If you haven't seen them, the banner is literally in hut. If you go to again, I wish there was a QR code or something because it is kind of you do have to like do some searching to get to the EA forums and then Hockey Ultimate Team and then you'll see community requests. It'll be in there. So go and check that out if you haven't already. All right, let's talk about the latest event. So the HUD Elites event, which I believe we talked a little bit about last week, but it's clearly the event to give MSPs to cards that always get prime times or that are some of the better players throughout the year because just getting cards prime times and things like that and not getting MSP art is kind of lame. Like obviously at some point you want like where everyone can get it because if they just keep getting prime times, like Matthews, for example, and they don't have any other like long-standing card, like whether it be X Factors, and he's just getting live moments and card team of the weeks. You can't always get those cards. You can't make them. So, good to see an event like this. It makes sense. The card art, in my opinion, was sick. I know Stewie doesn't like the obscure ones, but I thought the bubble hockey.
I like this one.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool idea with the bubble hockey thing.
Yeah.
Is that Clappy's face that's hanging over the card? Like I was trying to figure out whose face.
Dude,
that was.
no, it's just some random kid. I didn't even realize that until like I zoomed in on one of the cards, and I'm like, that is the weirdest thing. I know. I thought it was a mistake, but it's actually like imagine it's Clappy.
I didn't even know this.
Yeah, it's a kid in the background.
They have Clappy like putting on every different jersey.
That would be good.
No, but I like the card art because it's like real. It's like a real picture of the players. The only time I didn't like the card art that one time was because I thought it was goofy to like use like the in-game like actual player.
Oh yeah, dude, it's so funny because that's 50-50. I actually didn't mind that. I think it was pretty cool.
like I like this because it's like a real picture of them, but it's in like a different form. You know what I mean? It's anyways. That's card stuff. But
oh, it's a kid playing bubble hockey.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I don't really know.
He's leaning forward like Benny playing NHL.
Yep.
Holy.
I don't know the correlation with the bubble hockey and the elite thing, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't get that either. But all right, so we had a new mechanic sort of in this event where you had a 93 and one card was able to go to 94. This is like frustrating because I think every card should just operate like this. Like they should just be able to keep going up tiers. And what was stupid was not stupid. Because I like when they do a little bit different with some things that are different, but things like you had to get these collectibles, like these awesome Matthews collectibles, and Dougie Hamilton won as well, by doing like all the different modes and stuff. But the objective 2.0 is still not utilized the way that I think it was intended, where it should be like, you have to grind out a ton with like an 84 over. Like let's say you make Matthews or Hamilton, and you get like their 84, and while you're going, you score 40, 50, or what's Austin Matthews' highest goal total? 64. 64 is his career high, I think,
Something
or
like that,
62.
yeah.
61, I want to.
It's right above 60. It's right above 60. So let's say you get that in game with Austin Matthews. You can do it squad battles, rivals, whatever. Then you get a token and like the Austin Matthews upgrade token, and then he becomes an 85 or an 86. It skips ahead. Instead, what they did was they allowed you to like make one out of the 5 required by finishing objectives with the card, where it's like, so like that's partially good, but like then we're still grinding out games played and spending event collectibles, and it's just like not fully. I think
It's not
that
rewarding the grind at all, kind of
exactly.
thing. It's just like, yeah.
I think that there needs to come a point where I don't think this will ever happen until there's massive tech fixed. We've heard about the spaghetti code and then just being able to implement new things like that, even with content. I think until we get to the point where every individual card can track individual stats with the card and save it, we're not going to see things like the parallel system in MLB where you get X amount of XP with a card and then it goes up +1 overall. I think that's how it should always be. But that being said, let's rank the HUD Elites. We'll give our top 5. All right. So we'll go. Give me. How should we do this? Let's do Brent. Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, number 5. A hot take. No one.
Oh no!
There's no one there. There's no one there.
Okay,
There's
I know
only
where
a
this
top
is
4.
going. There's only top
There's
4.
only a top 4 to me. There's only 4 cards you make, and it's number 4. I'll go with Kucherov.
Okay.
Because he's 98 speed. He's got the elite edges, silver snappy, and he's going to turn into a team of the season. I would say, like, if anything, I would tie him with Rantanen. Like, those guys are number 3 together. Because Rantanen has, like, 96 speed, 6'4". He's going to get a team of the season card. You got Matthews at number 2 and Hamilton at number 1. And I'm just saying that basically number 5 is just a player that you like. I'd say those are like your top 4, and I can't figure out a 5th that makes sense for it, as in like calling him above any other card right now.
Okay, I'm curious. It's pretty wild to me that we're in March and you're actually going to compete in the GWC still. That you would use a card like Kucherov.
Well, it's because the thing that like saves him too is he has edges and snappy too, and nearly max speed. And if you've used because everyone used like the Jack Hughes cards at the beginning of the year because he was like super like his he got so many cards early on that his card is really good. He's like the better Jack Hughes now. Like it's his edge work is like super tight like Jack Hughes was. His shot is automatic. He plays a little bit heavier than Hughes. Like Hughes got blown over pretty badly just with like him being really light, but Kucherov has a little bit more meat to him. So it's just better Hughes.
Okay. And you would choose, do you think if removing the fantasy right-handed defenseman, where does Hamilton rank for you?
Oh, number 1.
He's your best.
He's
He's
gotta
the
be.
best right-handed defenseman in the game outside of the fantasy cards. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
What about Matthews?
He's like, at least for me, like I have McDavid playing center right now, so I would say that Matthews is like the second best center in the game at this point.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I can.
If you're using McDavid on the wing, then I would say Matthews is number 1.
Okay.
But at least just with my team build, I want to go all lefty centers at this point in the game. I find that like your far side shot works better with lefties in this like right now. Like the problem is that most like goalies are left-hand glove, right? So if you're using a righty, you're gonna get glove saves even if you like pick the perfect low shot. So you want, at least in a competitive standpoint, you want to be running majority lefty forwards just so that if you're cycling through for catch and shoots, that you're going to be getting left-handed catch and shoot shots more than right-handed.
Sound take there. All right, Stu, give me your top 5 in the order that you have them.
I'll do Cooch. Wouldn't use him just because he's not big enough for me, but I like what Brent said, and I see Benny nodding also because I definitely can see like what they're talking about with the edges and the snappy. I think the edges and snappies like the best abilities for forwards this year by like a mile. And then number 4, I'd have to do Pedersen because I start to get my big boys in there, even though he's a skinny big boy. I'd still play him on the wing because it's just he doesn't have the draws like to compete with those guys. And then number 3, I would do Rantanen. That card is so sick. It's so unfortunate because the way this game plays, and this is my hot take, it sucks that I have McDavid right now because built up because Rantanen, I feel like Yager, I feel like, and who's the other big turd that's out there?
Nash.
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 Yeah.
They all feel better than McDavid in like congested spaces. And the reason why I say that, I was telling the guys before the episode, the minute you get hit with McDavid now, it's like deck down to 0 and it's like that takes away his best ability, which is his skating, and that's on EA for the summer to do their homework to figure out how to make it so your energy doesn't go all the way down if you're going to keep the hitting the way it is, or figure out so hitting isn't arcadey. That's what we were so, at least I was chapped about was when they brought back the hitting. I was like, great, here we go, because the standard was just, yeah, you know what I'm saying, Brent. You're gonna say something, I could tell.
Yeah, I don't like what they did with the entire like nerf of energy this year. I think it was just an unnecessary. It's like one of those things. Everything broke, don't fix it. And they're like just basically just like dropped a giant pile of shit onto the game. Like, you know what? We're gonna throw this pile of shit and just see what happens. And then this is me personally, because like you said, Sleeves, subjective opinion about gameplay to everybody. In my opinion, the energy nerf made no sense.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's not like I'm saying like I don't think Branson is a better player than McDavid. I don't like if we have open ice and everything's like, yeah, great, McDavid's awesome. Like, but the minute if he just gets like clipped, it's like Zium, and I'm like, that's annoying. So it's like right now I feel more confident with the puck when I have Nash or Rantanen or that Yager. They randomly made Yager like 15 pounds or something heavier.
I don't understand.
254. Thick, man.
He's big.
Maybe it's his current playing weight right now in the Czech league. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm gonna go Rantanen, but yeah, that was like my hot take. I know the people in the comments are like McDavid's great. I know McDavid is the greatest. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying like the way this game is constructed, it just annoys me. And then number 2, I'm gonna go Matthews. He's like you guys said, like unreal. But dude, Dougie Hamilton, and this is another hot. I think he's the best defenseman in the game. But period, like better than Bonk, better than Doughty. And it's people. I always tell people are so obsessed with numbers, right? It says 94 next to his name, and you have the Nip and Biscuits of the world that think that everything has to be 99, or or like his speed has to be 99. Well, when he's 6'6". What do you think his speed is?
It's his
exactly
reach.
Like how much how do you like, so his speed is what? Like I think he can get up to
94.
94. So is it really almost 99 or 98? You know what I'm saying? So it's like how much, like, because that's 4 inches on Bonk, for example. So it's I don't know. I just think he's unreal. His abilities, like he feels like, and then I always call it, I can't remember who coined the phrase, the ogre stride. When they get going, those big boys, they look like they're like running up the ice, and he has the ogre stride. And he's a stud. Like quick pick, I'm a big quick pick guy. I was asking the boys for the episode, I'm hem-hawing about quick pick and shutdown. Still, I see a lot of guys rocking shutdown. It's just like, I don't know. It's just so expensive, and quick pick because of the forces this year. Like, my goodness, like, I think that probably one of the best players, maybe right up there with Benny, is Cad, and that guy just like I think Brent was talking about last episode. He's the force master.
Yeah,
well, besides
stuff.
Yeah,
Exactly. Okay, I'm pretty stunned with the Pedersen. Dude, I haven't found a Pedersen card I actually enjoyed using since like I don't know if ever, because I just find that he gets knocked off so easily.
Have you ever taken a slap shot with him?
I can't take a slap shot in NHL 24.
I know, but have you ever just messed around and done it? Like
no.
over the years.
Oh, over the years?
He has a custom slap shot where he does the Gretzky, like the big windup.
Oh,
it's different
really?
than everyone else. Yeah, if you ever just go to practice mode and mess around, it's some like, I don't know if it's it could be like it's like a Vancouver thing, right? Because he's in Vancouver.
Maybe,
right?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's always been a little bit of bias towards Vancouver players because of that.
I think he has 1T too.
He's got a rock.
Yeah, I think he has 1T. Yeah. All right. My top 5. Number 5 is McAvoy. I think that McAvoy behind Hamilton. I think his abilities are fine. He's big enough and quick enough. Again, I think if you have one of the fantasy cards, he gets kicked out of it. Number 4 would be Kucherov. Okay, you guys both mentioned Snappy because before this year, it hasn't really been a thing, any of the shooting ones. What has made
Right.
you think that Snappy works, and was it that Bedard card?
Well, it's
I'll
actually because, well, sorry,
No,
I
no,
didn't mean to cut you
yeah.
off,
No,
Stewie,
you're
but so basically they increased just like snapshots being better this year in general. So
Really?
snapshots in general as a shot work a lot better. They're a lot more accurate than before. It used to come
I did
off
not
like
know that.
if you go back to old games and you shoot a snapshot, it gives you kind of like flubby animations all the time. It's like kind of like the flick up now gives you that really accurate shot. So this is like basically dialing it in better than what it used to be. And if you're not in like the most optimal shooting like position with your guy's body, you'll still get that like rocket animation off your stick.
Yeah,
I-
and I was gonna have Benny explain to everybody the glitch shot that every top guy or even just 17 to 20, it's automatic. This shot would make it snappy. I'll let him.
It's called the La Dani.
Yeah.
We were screaming a lot in trust. So it's basically with a left shot, you come across the middle and you fire far side low blocker. I mean it's been in the game for a little bit, but it's really prevalent this year.
Yes.
That's the
I
only
was
goal
gonna
to
chime in.
score.
Yeah, I was gonna chime in with it saying make it snappy is like so if you were to wind up your shot, it's gonna take longer to release it. So with snappy, you're able to just flick up. You don't even have to pull it back. So when you pull it back, it's quicker. And obviously against like the top guys that are really aggressive on you, you don't have a lot of time to shoot it. So if you have snappy, it's really good. And on top of that, sometimes I'll even like try to get it over to like let's say my Kucherov for example for a 1T and snappy will activate. Like it can be weird like that too. So it's I for 2 points on silver, I think it's probably the best value out of all the
For
abilities.
sure.
Like,
You know what I would love to do?
Beauty backhand.
that too. That
Yeah,
too.
Beauty backhand also
Yeah.
activates on backdoor sometimes. Like with
Uh,
Kachuk.
I
It,
have
like,
a clip of that. Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
clip of it actually activating on the backhand. It acts like a one-timer on the backhand.
And Schneip is the opposite of snappy. So Schneip, if you're doing the pull
back
back
wrist
and
shot.
shoot, that's when Schneip turns on. Schneip's also a low key one. If you can like maybe like if you're like, oh, I don't know what else, you can just throw it on there. It's like I like it on Svech because I love Svechnikov custom stride. But like he has it. I think Eichel has it too, and it does work. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, like, I used
Snappy.
Medano when he was like a prevalent
Me
card.
too.
So
Snappy is definitely like the best for forwards. What did you think?
Number three, I've got Rantanen. That one's pretty easy. I think that the fact that they gave him speed boost is actually surprising to me because it makes he's basically Kucherov, 6'4", which is that
it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Number 2, I have Matthews and Hamilton switch. I think that Matthews has a shot much like the custom stride guys, where his shot anywhere in the dots just seems to go in, regardless of the card. It's like a card that I've noticed like over the years where Matthews cards just always seem to score. They actually made him a center because he's like one of the better defensive players in the NHL, and I feel like that's never talked about because he's just trying to put up 70 goals. So the fact that they gave him gold quick drop, not that he's a great faceoff guy, but like a defensive ability, now makes him like a legit center because over the last like 3 years, you would get a Matthews card and you'd almost always put him on the wing. I hate that you can't use cards like out of their position.
It was never fast enough to be optimal in the wing either. So he was always kind of like Draisaitl too. I was thinking like maybe week 2 is like MSV
I thought it was
going to
be Draisaitl. I thought
so
for
he
sure.
would get that, because he like those two, like realistically, sure, yeah,
Exact
they're
same.
not like straight line players, they're not god tier guys on the draw in real life. So it makes sense to kind of get hindered like the Crosby thing where they're like really good at things, but they're not like number like top player in the game at the 2 most important things for the video game to be a center. So it kind of makes sense. Like I can see Dry getting one pretty soon just to kind of like help him out. He needs that custom build.
Yeah, I agree. I think so. I thought for sure he was gonna get elites. It just kind of fit like the bill of like a card that always gets prime time or live moments or team of the weeks, but never an MSP.
Yeah.
Just like that one kind of fit the bill. All right, so I think that we could all agree the next event is gonna be trade deadline.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm almost positive because the trade deadline is March 8th. So it just kind of lines up perfectly. So I thought for this one, I hope they bring back the thing where they release a bunch of event cards of like players that look like they're going to get dealt. And then if they get dealt, they go up like +4 or whatever. I hope they bring that back because that's always kind of fun and interesting. I want to I want each of you to give me a trade that you think is going to happen and to who. You don't have to nail the return, but who you think is going to go. Stu, you can go first. One, not multiple, because I'm probably going to have one that you're probably going to say mine.
I'm gonna go Vegas, and I'm gonna say they're gonna get Jake Gensel.
Okay, you literally just ripped mine. Damn.
And okay, I'll do a different one then. I'll do
Well, no. You can go ahead. No, because now it's what. So just say
take a second choice
for the
now.
clip as Benny's in the background. We're not editing this out. This is production value. Stu, I want you to say, I think that, and then go on.
I think that he'll get traded for.
No, not who. You got to do your whole thing because it's gonna be clipped. It's gonna be a YouTube short
I
out
think
of it.
that the Vegas Golden Knights will get Gensel, and I think they'll trade. I'm gonna say they're gonna trade Brisson. I'm also maybe gonna throw in either that Cormier or that Dorfiev, and I think even maybe a first. Like I think it's gonna be a haul.
You're gonna need a first for sure, and
Yeah,
again,
and I think Brisson makes a ton of sense because Pat Brisson's the agent of Sidney Crosby, and I'm almost positive Crosby used to help the kid out when they were young. Like I think he might live with them for a little bit too or something. Somebody said. So I think there's a tie there, and it just makes a lot of sense. And in Vegas, they're gonna get a score. It's either gonna be Gensel or Tarasenko or one of those kind of guys. I think that.
Well, Buchnevich.
I think Buchnevich, I as a Blues fan, and I'll say this too. Maybe you can elaborate on your guys' teams. I hope the Blues trade Buchnevich because I think you get 2 runs out of him. He makes perfect money. Really good value, and they're not going to win the cup the next few years anyway, so it doesn't matter. And they're not going to pay him $8 million. And I really hope they trade Kyrou too because it's just not working here, and it's before his no trades clause kicks in 2025. And I think there's teams out there that be like, oh, Jordan Kyrou, he can score 30-40 goals on my team, so let's give him a chance here because he did it here. He did 37, I think. So. I don't know. I'm just kind of over the whole Kyrou. No one really likes him here, in terms of fans and media and all that stuff. So I'm hoping that's what happens.
Okay, Brent, give me a trade.
I think the Canucks are missing a top 6 winger right now, and I think they're gonna pick up either Gensel, Buchnevich, or Vetrano.
Okay.
To fill that void, because right now, they're running. It seems like one guy short in the top 6 that makes them. I think they need a right-handed D-man. I think they get Tanev.
Do you think they go back? Calgary goes back for another deal? Because they got Zadorov, right?
Right.
No, Tanev's gonna get dealt, but I'm saying
Tanev's gonna go to Dallas or the Leafs, I think.
I got a good Leafs.
It's true. That is possible, but I think that the Canucks just need one more right-handed D-man so that Myers can sit in the press box, or they can somehow deal him out. But the problem with them is that they do have a lot of lefties, a lot of good lefties. Because your first line for sure for the Canucks is you're gonna have Hughes and Hronek, and then you're gonna have there's a missing top 4 right-handed D-man, and then your third pair is gonna have either Juleson or Myers on the right D spot, and you're picking between Soucy, Cole, and Zadorov on the left side, but you need to have depth, because if you have one guy go down, all of a sudden you have an AHL guy coming up. It's not going to help you in the playoffs, right? So you need to have those extra bodies that can come in and make a difference, like Phil Kessel.
Oh my god! Did you see the clip of Phil trying to get back in the AHL? Oh, that looks sad. I actually felt bad for him. He is just he's got the 250-pound bump that Yager got in Hut. That's what it looks. That's what it looks like.
He's truly the janitor build now that everyone always said he had.
Absolutely. All right. I will do a Leafs one. I think that the Leafs will end up with Tanev. I think that they will overpay, or they will find a way to get Tanev.
They should.
However, I think that who they actually go... Here's a sleeper one that they should get, that I think that they go and get Mario Ferraro. I think he would be absolutely perfect for the Leafs. The Sharks and Leafs have done business in the past. It just makes stupid sense, and I don't know why I never thought of it as a Sharks fan. I don't want to see Mario leave, but the team is legitimately not going to make the playoffs. I would say for at least 4 more seasons after this one. And by that time, the amount of pucks that Mario Ferraro blocks, like he might just be burnt into dust. So
The only issue is it may cost you more to get Ferrario than
he has one more
Canada.
year, and it's like a decent deal. I believe it's 3.2 million.
It is,
But
he's got 2 more years. I
the
think maybe.
Leafs cannot or will not, in my opinion, do what Dubas did, where they go all in and they do not get term. Like that's why I think that the
He's got
Tanev
2
thing,
years left. 2
Yeah.
years left.
the Tanev thing, why I think it has dragged its feet for so long is simply because that he is a rental and he is probably going to be an Ottawa Senator regardless. I think that that's why, and I think that
And second round pick for him too.
yeah, and maybe even a first if they get into like a bidding war, which I just don't think that they are willing to do. I could see a first if they throw in Mangiapane. I know that the Kipper and Bourne, they actually mentioned that if Mangiapane actually came back, because again, that's like a cheaper, because I think they need another forward too. But that's what I think. I think Mario Ferraro gets dealt to Toronto. I think that might be a sneaky one. So hopefully the trade deadline event comes out, and that was a nice segue. So let's do a little bit of talk on the World Championships because it's almost done. This weekend marked the official end of, I would say, 70% of Division 1 players in Hut are gone that didn't make GWC? Maybe that's too much. Maybe that's too much. At least 50.
Some of the names that did not qualify, I was surprised.
It's pretty stunning. But I want to speak quickly on that because in my 5 years of covering NHL esports, I don't remember a time that a console looked so weak isn't the right word. I looked at the PlayStation quals, the top 28 that made it, and it blew me away that I did not realize how many people literally left PlayStation for Xbox this year, because all of the club championships are out of so there were 60, right? 64? I think 64 club champions.
64, yep.
These are players that did not have to compete in open play, and I'd say maybe 5 of them are guys that would not have qualified at all.
I'd say 5 to 8.
5 to 8, yeah. So you've got about 55 guys. So you're looking at I'd love to go back and look at NHL 22 and look at week 3 when they did the weeks of qualifications, or maybe NHL 21 and see who was in that 3 in week 4 because they did top 32 for 4 straight weeks. I'd be curious to see, but it was congrats to everyone that made it on PlayStation. It's awesome. That does not mean that you're not a good player. I think anyone that made it has a chance to take someone out in the first round, a club champion, depending on who you match up with, things like that. But it really was stunning that how many competitive players left PlayStation because the game does simply not play as well and went to Xbox. And the reason why I want to bring this up is that in MLB, me and Stu are big MLB players, and we actually had Zazie on, who's one of the best MLB players there is competitively, and it's the same thing on Xbox and MLB. And I think this is becoming a bigger thing, that the latency, whether it be on the next gen, so on PlayStation 5, and it wasn't really as prevalent on PlayStation 4, but it isn't just a conspiracy. It's sports games that require servers. With the new gen consoles, it just has gone backwards in technology, or at least experience.
Yeah, and Benny, you can talk about it because you actually did it this year. He was like $400 or something deep in PlayStation, and then he's like, dude, I don't care. I want to win GWC, and if this gives me the best chance, I'm gonna do it. And would you agree that it was a smart move so far?
But by far, a part of that was the input delay for sure, and then the other part of it is I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, and I don't live close to a server. So, to me, there are obviously way more people that are good on the East Coast on Xbox than there is on PlayStation. So I was kind of just like, hey, if realistically, I would rather play all these guys on peer-to-peer than
For
server.
sure.
So that's why I went over as well. I wanted to say I did the math actually in my own free time because I'm a little nerd to this stuff. Out of all the 64 club champ winners, 11 of them are PlayStation, and out of the 124 players that are actually in the whole tournament, there's 40 of them that are PlayStation. So that's the actual math behind it.
That's
So-
1/3.
Them, right?
That's
28
1/3.
had to
and,
qualify.
28 had to qualify. So
Imagine if it was.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing too: is that there were 19 win players that qualified on PlayStation, right?
yeah,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then on Xbox, it was
There was-
20.
And
20,
remember,
there was
20 with
120.
points.
There was
It
one 20 guy that didn't make it. It was Kanger.
yeah, and
That's
remember,
right.
Brent, everybody on PlayStation turns off their crossplay, which is even another advantage.
Yeah.
Which next year, this is what I can't stress enough. To EA, to the NHL, everyone out there, we need a combined leaderboard in the game, not on the website. On the website, like, that was fine last year. I don't know why they got rid of it, but that's another story. But, like, we need it on the game. There needs to be, if you are entering the mode for GWC, if you're going to have open play, again, which I hate open play because there's so many variables to it, but if you're going to have it, you cannot enter unless you have your crossplay on. You have to have it on. You will not be able to search if you don't. That's what it should be. And that will take away all of the running to this thing and hiding over here and doing, like, there's already enough hiding as it is and dodging it is with Discords and everything. So it's like, anyways, we'll go off on a whole tangent if we sit here and talk about this all night.
For sure. That's crazy, the numbers. That's 1/3.
Yeah.
And we called this. We called this. Like, we said, like, we did it like tongue in cheek. I didn't know it was that egregious.
I didn't realize it was that
honestly,
bad.
I would love to add up because Anaheim was like only locked into Southern California.
Those are in the 11 or the 8.
Yeah, and there was only 8 people that showed up. Washington, only 8 people showed up. Nashville, I was one of the PlayStation people, even though if I could go back, I'd go Xbox. Like every tournament there, I mean, it's crazy to think, honestly.
I can see how PlayStation players would be frustrated. Like they hear you say that, go like they'd be frustrated. I should be allowed to my crossplay because the game is worse.
Yes.
Like, dude, it sucks that your console performs worse.
That's it. Yeah.
It sucks.
In 2024. Why is that going backwards? Yeah.
And you're allowed to be pissed. Yeah. That's absolutely acceptable to think, why can't I turn it off if the gameplay is worse?
And you spent $500 and this is what you get. I get it. It sucks. And it's like, honestly, if you care enough, I'm going to say this real quick. Sorry, Sleazy, but
no, go ahead.
Go buy an Xbox X. Go trade in your PlayStation. Go sell it to somebody on Facebook Marketplace, like whatever. Get rid of it and just buy a little. And honest to God, if I could go back in time and tell me years ago, I should have just bought the little white Xbox because guess what? It is the exact same as the best. Oh, okay, not the exact, but you get what I'm saying. Like it looks this because NHL hasn't been able to upscale better because
that's what I use.
Everyone in the little white Xbox. If you're like Sleevesy, I remember he went to Vegas for like a bachelor party. He just tucked it in his backpack. If you try tucking the PlayStation in
I brought the PlayStation 5, bro. It was the worst. It was the worst lugging that thing. No, I completely agree. Yeah. But why I want to bring this up is this isn't even an EA thing as well. I'm sure we've been saying that the gameplay is different. Well, you have been for like 5 years. But this is why I wanted to bring up this point is that sports games require a ton of input. And there is, because not everyone plays sports games, like obviously FIFA and Madden are much more played at a much more grander scale than NHL or even PGA or UFC. But there is clearly a delay that is not being fixed because, you play COD and it's fine. You don't notice it. But this is in other games too, so it's not just EA. It's like this generation of console, like specifically PlayStation, it is just not enjoyable. And I've said this a million times. If you want to know if you are a PlayStation player and you have no idea and you think that we're making it up, here's what I would like you to do. I want you to unplug your controller, play it not wired, your controller, have it via Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. And I want you to sit on the HUT menu for 15 minutes, and then I want you to go left and right with the joystick or the D-pad. And in HUT, at least, you will see a massive delay. Or in game, try and do one of the one-button deeks on Total Control. I hit A to do the one-hand tuck, and if I do it where I think you need to do it, I'm behind the net before he lifts his stick. Like, it's a mess, and it sucks. And I have been a PlayStation truther since I was 7 years old, and I will be playing NHL 25 on Xbox Series X. So, that is just how it is. Let's now bring in or talk about the EU qualifiers, because one of the most well-known players probably in the entire community is Eki, and for he is out of the 5 European championships, he's won 4 of them, and the only one that has ever beaten him, or I believe it was the third year, the COVID year, was Artuzio. And John Wayne. No. John Wayne sent him packing across the pond back in 2019. I was in attendance. I saw it. I'm going to bring that up in just a moment. But one of the craziest esports. It's funny because people ask me if I like casting, like GWC and stuff, because especially last year when it was like the quick wrap, and this year prior to them just completely nuking the full pressure meter. Sometimes it's awfully cringy to call the game because it's hard. I always try. It always makes me laugh when I try to like make like a crazy goal that is not really that crazy. Like a Michigan being scored this year would be like, last year if someone scored a Michigan in a GWC game, it would have been absolutely insane. But someone doing it now, it's like this like crazy big moment, and I'm just like, what a excellent execution of the Y button. Like I always try to find stupid stuff like that.
That's funny when you do that, by the way.
Yes, it always makes me laugh internally.
Hard. Like
it's very difficult. So, but
game, it's like you gotta like throw in some funny stuff.
We're all obsessed with this game, whether we want to admit it or not. And when two of the better players play a game that's intense and you get kind of nervous watching it because whether you like someone more than the other, that is when I enjoy it the most. So Eki and Artuzio play a game, and this is a best of 3 series to go to Copenhagen, which I will be leaving for in like 14 to 2 weeks. And for the EU finals, to make top 8. Artuzio is the only person that has won an EU championship other than Eki, which is crazy because we're going into year 7 of the GWC. There's only been 3 world champions, but when the regionals has always happened. And it went to overtime in each game. I watched, I believe it was game 2 and a little bit of game 3 because I was driving while it was going on. But Eki had to stop a penalty shot in overtime, and I believe he had to win that game to force a game 3. Like, I think he was eliminated if he let that goal in. Which, dude, I could not imagine, because as a content creator, right? If I get knocked out of GWC or if I played, it doesn't matter to me. Eki, while a very good content creator, a lot of what he does is based on the GWC and winning it and getting there. And when, like, the road to the GWC, what Eki does is so well done every year. It's a very good, the way he edits it and all the content that he puts out for is a very good watch for anyone that enjoys the game. And to know that, like, you're done early is like, dude, I can't imagine the stress. I cannot imagine it because, again, I do this for a living, and so does he. And I can only imagine, like, that's a large portion of his income. I'm sure world championship, like, earnings, like, that's a big portion of it. And God, I can't imagine what that would like. Doing a penalty shot, and you're eliminated. Good Lord. That being said.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
For everyone in here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I've always wondered this. As a goalie, the Dominik Hasek jump, do we like it? And, like, okay, here's my issue. I like, okay, you can be able to jump, right? But then it's also annoying when the computer goalie pokes you. So it's like, I feel like it's either, I feel like personally, I know we all use it. I almost would rather get rid of the jump and just, if you.
Oh, you're talking about the diving poke check.
The dive, right?
Yes,
Because I mean, there's times where, dude, you get, just nicked and you're going flying. But I'm saying this like, you can still take control of your goalie, but play goalie. But the thing that I also hate too, because then goalie interference comes into it, like on a normal breakaway. But then also, like I said, the computer can poke check you too. So it's like, I feel like it's one or the other, and they're never going to get rid of the poke check completely. So I think I lean towards more of the poke check. But we all use, all of us in here, we all use the dive. What do you think, Brent? And then I'll let the other two answer.
I mean, it's just like, it's one of those things. It's only broken in the video game, right? In real life, your goalie dives at you.
You do
like
that.
Into the net, like,
yeah,
dude,
that's
you're throwing.
Automatic.
Whereas in the video game, like this game is so ping reliant, right?
Yeah.
That when all of a sudden the goalie's like diving at you, you have like no time to react, and that's how it always like. That's how like the percentage of like stoppages is so high. It's like, and it's in general, you don't have that tight of like a stick handle, right? Like everything is kind of bulky to go. Backhand, forehand, good luck. As soon as that stick is reaching out like 15 feet at you, if they time it right, it's over.
That's when I noticed that there was a delay on PlayStation because I couldn't dodge dudes. I was like, oh my God, like I just can't dodge this goalie, or I can't, I'm too quick. I can't go backhand, forehand, backhand. It's like, by the way, forehand's completely broken this year. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing. But
like doesn't work.
Does not work. But
yes.
like Kachekov did it to Kachuk earlier this year in the shootout, and Kachuk was like, dude, I'm gonna kill you, like, you know what I mean?
Dude,
so
it's
anyways,
not
like,
good to poke check in a shootout because that's dangerous. Because you wipe
you
someone's feet out. Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, wait, Benny, what do you think? Like, do you like the poke, like the manual poke? And
as a competitive player, I have kind of trained myself to, on a breakaway, if it's a clear breakaway, I'm long gone. I could do one touch dekes the entire way there. I always prep myself for, like, I'm staring at the goalie the entire time. Like if I see a small twitch that's not normal, I'm instantly pulling forehand, ripping it every time.
See,
So there's also something I do where like if I'll stop first, and if a guy goes flying
Mhm.
goalie, he'll just go and I'll stop before he'd even be able to reach me. And there's a way where if he doesn't switch to his goalie, I'll still be able to score. So I've been doing that
Oh.
recently. That's
Oh.
that's been kind of my thing. Yeah, just a
The
top player stuff.
what
But yeah.
I have always been pretty good at for like the last like couple years is I can switch at the absolute last second. Like I see a lot of people that will switch to their goaltender either early or even like where they just get past the faceoff dots. I'm talking where I will switch to my goaltender and squaring up within like a half a second, and it's always worked. And this year, backhands will just go in even if you're standing there. If you manually control and you play for the backhand, it will just go in. So the most effective thing I've seen on breakaways this year is to just hit L1 when you're chasing down a guy, and it will mess up the dude. I don't know, Benny, I don't know if you get impacted by that or you guys, but I have stopped probably 95% of breakaways this year by when I've got my forward and I've given up a breakaway, and I just go L1 at like just inside the blue line, and I
Like a
have
fake
no
manual,
intention. That's it.
basically.
That's it. Yeah, because when for anyone that doesn't know, you hit L1 and X to switch to a goaltender. So when you hit L1, sometimes if you do that quickly enough, you like or early, your player will go down on an LB block and it will mess up the guy. That's all I do.
So there's something with the indicator color. Sap showed me this earlier in the year, where so your opponent's indicator color is gray, and back in the day, like you used to be able to see when to change because the indicator was above the head.
Oh
Now it's below.
yeah.
It's so hard to tell if a guy's going manual goalie or
Huh.
not. So there's something in your settings where you can change to like have your opponent's color be blue. So it's so much easier to tell if a guy's manual goalie or not.
Oh,
if you
man.
turn that
Why
on.
do I not have this on right now?
Dude, that's your tenant,
No,
brother.
no.
You're literally the
Yeah.
landlord.
God damn it!
Yep.
I'm gonna be like, Sap, get in here after the podcast is
My
done.
goodness.
Turn this on for me.
But no, so anyways, Eki was able to win and qualify, so he is still alive somehow. I wonder how much this would be interesting because I'm very good friends with Regs. Well, I mean, Stu, you are too, but I see Regs at every one of these events over the last like 4 or 5 years, and now it's funny because he's like he's like a young man. Like he literally graduated university, now works for his dad's company, and we joked this year like I think his name is One Last Run. Like that, or Last Chance, or whatever. Like that's his team name.
Yeah.
It's funny
Reg's
that he
Last
says,
Dance.
"Yeah,
Last
Reg's Last
Dance.
Ride." Yeah, something like that. And it's funny because I wonder at what point. I've said this every single year since I've been the voice of the GWC that Eki now has nothing to prove in EU. No disrespect to the European players, but there is such a small fraction of competitive players in Europe than there is compared to North America. That's just a population thing. That is not, we're better than the others, but it's just like there's just a population thing. Eki 100% in his content career. I tell him this every year to his face that he needs to come to North America, and he's got ENTS is esports org, I believe, and he could fund it, but his YouTube content would be like following that journey. He's gotten really good at vlogging as well. I think that's like his next thing to do, like October to March of next year where he's in North America, because there's literally nothing to prove in Europe. Like you've won it 5 out of 6 times. Like if he wins it this year and doesn't win the Worlds, it's like, man, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like it doesn't lose its like luster, but like it's like you got nothing else to prove and there's nothing else to
I would
challenge
be
you.
tuning into every stream if he was playing in North America.
I'm saying like
Hasn't he not won yet since he won the first year? Like at
he hasn't
any
won
event
World.
here.
Yeah, I don't think he's been at
any
many
event here, like
Yep.
bolts or anything. I don't think he's won.
I think he did like a scrim or like a series of when Regs and Eki, when there was no Worlds, they each
Regs
won. They each won North
right?
America and Europe, and Jordan or the Isles actually flew them both out here. And they played NHL 23 against each other. And Regs won that. He's won the Bolts.
yeah.
He's lost the Bolts multiple times, twice I think. It's harder. Like it's just like the Olympics. Like in real life, like if a country that has more population, there's just a bigger pool of people to pull from. It's the same thing with,
That's a good
with the
comparison.
NHL video game, right? Like it's not that the top end guys are worse. It's that when you randomly load into Div 1 Rivals or Hut Champs, you're not mindlessly playing. Every single game is hard because there's 150 North American guys that could realistically take a game from anyone. Whereas in Europe, maybe there's like 25, right? So it's just that's the difference, right? And I think that I would love to see Aki do that again, because if he wins Europe again, doesn't win Worlds, it's like, man, just come over here. Like, and it's a risk and it's scary and all that. But like, man, his numbers would be nuts. His Twitch streams would be insane because he can't stream. Well, he can, but like, it's like, oh, this leads me into another thing we're gonna we've got for time. But like, content comes out at midnight for them. So like, he's not streaming during the content time. So all the content Andes that come in and watch the Twitch to see who's new, Eki doesn't get those. Europeans don't get those views, right? So it would just be insane for his numbers. He would dominate Twitch if he came over here. But that does bring up to a point. So the Copenhagen is the European finals. I will be the host, which I am terrified for. I will be the host and the play-by-play. And that will be in 2 weeks. So I fly out there, and I'm excited. The EU finals is always good, and it'll be interesting to see how he does. Before we move on, one last topic. Quickly, your favorite NHL GWC moment or esports moment if you want. Doesn't have to be your own.
I mean, just as a West Coast player, I think my favorite ever series was Reddick Man versus John Wayne back in NHL 22.
Oh,
just
in the club championship. Oh, yeah,
No. In round 1 GWC.
Okay.
And the thing is, too, Reddick blew him out in game 1.
I remember this.
Everyone's watching this, losing their mind. Like, oh my God, Reddick just blew out John. And then John just dials in and just blows him out in game 2 and then rags the hell out of him in game 3 to win the whole thing. As a West Coast player, that was our Stanley Cup final right there. You have Reddick Man versus the GOAT. It was
that's
poetic.
funny to hear from like someone out there, because like a lot of people don't know who John Wayne is if you're playing now, because you don't match him, right? Like you don't, because he's out in Alaska. But my favorite individual moment is John beating Eki in 2019. I think that is probably going to be the best GWC moment of all time, simply because Eki was in 2018. Esports was completely random. No one knew who was good. Right there, everyone was like, like establishing themselves, and Eki ran through everyone at the 2018, first year, and then the second year, it was like, this kid is the king. And John Wayne, it was like the massive underdog, and John Wayne won game 1 and lost bad in game 2, and Eki had a lead with 26 seconds left to go. John Wayne tied it, and then off the faceoff scored again and beat him in regulation to knock him out. And I was there in person, and I am in the video, and it was just like, that was insane, because like that was a friend, so like it was even more that it mattered more. That was nuts. Like I don't think it was so unexpected, and it was like, this is like, okay, he won game 1 and whatever, but man, that was it. Stu?
I think my favorite is just all the drama that comes from this great game at every GWC.
Dude, the people that melt down.
The win trading, the raging, the lengths that people will go to get out of losses, to get wins, to get qualified. It's just I was telling the guys before the podcast, I won't name the exact situations, but there's 3 things that are the biggest stories, and it's not even like CAD winning or Eki winning. It's like the drama that's come from just this year alone already, and it sounds so dumb, but like, that's not like the only moment. Like if I had to pick a moment, I probably would say it was the Josh versus Gren series.
I was about to say that was going to be my next one. That was
just
the
funny
best series. That's the best series.
They both like leaned into it. Like, you had like Josh. Actually, you know what? That I will say, Josh doing the floss on stream.
Oh, dude, with the towel. God, I miss
Josh. Because you and Arda were
had
doing
to call,
the actual
yeah.
thing. Yeah. And the way Arda like maneuvered around it, it was so cool, because I was glad that Arda didn't like be like, whoa, we can't show, like he was like, well then, okay then, there we gotta, that was interesting. Like he just kind of like played it off, and you played it off well, and it was funny. But it was funny because like I was happy that they didn't be like, oh, we gotta like get rid of that. That's so like provocative. They actually like leaned into it. Like the next week
they showed it in a vignette.
It was great because it was like, it was so organic. Like no one told Josh to do that, and he just did it, and it was so funny. It was like one of those like moments where you actually like spit out your drink and like laughed, and like that's what's fun about like, like, because people are like, I get, people will chirp us all the time, like me and Brent, because we're old and we play the game. It's like, why do you still play? And it's like, well, part of it's because it's a hobby. Do I think I'm gonna win? Probably not gonna win anything, but the other part is it's just like the funny stuff that happens. You know, it's like it makes you like you got to have fun with it. Like the game's so it's the same thing every year. I was telling that the other night. But you gotta keep it fun somehow. And these like little goofy, dramatic events that happen throughout the year keep it going. You know.
I've said I actually talked about this on stream, or it might have been when I was traveling. I can't remember, but 2019's GWC was like full of like crazy stuff. I remember Nuke. No one knew who Nuke was, and he had a goal that no one else could score, and it was like, what is that? But that series between Josh and Gren, the community needs that. So that is two people that hated each other, and more than wanting to make the finals, because the winner of that series would go to Vegas. They would lock up their spot. The winner of that would go. So you have as much on the line that you could possibly have, other than the $50,000 at the end, right? But you had the highest stakes, and they just more than qualifying, they wanted to not lose to the other person with all of the spotlight. And as someone who is the voice of it and has to come up with the storylines and stuff, that's why I try and like bring up like not beef, but like. When two players don't like each other, I'll politely say it on broadcast, like point it out to try and make a storyline out of it. There isn't enough of that anymore. And I don't know if that's because people are scared of getting banned because they don't know how to communicate and not be like completely out of pocket, which might be the case because like back in the day, early on, like you had to say some really crazy stuff to get banned. And now it's, so, I would love to see like Deli and Loco Krusty. Is like, but like Loco, I don't think is good. Is no disrespect to Loco Krusty. He's got to do it on land or in a bracket. But like Deli and someone, it's Deli and someone. I don't know if it's Sky. I don't know if it's CAD. Deli and somebody is definitely the series that we're waiting for. I mean, Benny in the All-Star event last year, Dungadilly scored a goal 5 seconds into the broadcast. I couldn't even figure out what was going on, and he screamed so much in 30 seconds that I didn't know how to react to it.
That's what I was going to say if it got thrown to me about my favorite esports moment is getting dunked on 30 seconds into my second land, and I'm seeing this guy in a row.
Table, hey?
Yeah, fucking run around, spitting everywhere, doing his little hoorah, and then being able to shut him up within a period.
You did.
Like my favorite.
Oh, yeah, you came
moment.
back. It wasn't like 4-0.
So he was up 2-0, and then I scored 4 straight.
Yes.
And then he made it 4-3, and when I knew I was in his head was when he scored that third goal, and he didn't say a word.
He does get very quiet. He does get very quiet.
That's when I knew I had him because I think he started to regret doing all the hoorah stuff. I was also gonna say the Josh Fearless thing about him doing the towel floss. He did that after he beat Saphir, I believe. I was waiting to play Bardon Beauty to play Josh. And I'm sitting there watching the stream. And I'm like, I have to play this guy if I beat him. So I was just like,
God,
yeah, I was
Josh was a treasure.
Talk about intimidation, but yeah, that was
Josh. Josh was a treasure, bro. Unbelievable. Yeah, like it's Deli and somebody for sure. No disrespect to the other players that are at the top of the game that don't show as much emotion. I don't think there's a lot of guys that are just absolutely nuts like back early on. But that's what the tournament needs, man. We need two guys that just don't like each other. Like, it's okay to not like other people. I think that's something that needs to be, like, just, understood. Like, you don't have to like everybody. I mean, don't say out-of-pocket stuff to each other.
It's a lot easier to be, like, on everyone's good side than it is to be on, like, you got Duncan, though. His entire chat is there for him to lose.
Oh, yeah. Much like Josh's was. Like, there was maybe...
I wouldn't like that, though. I would hate that.
I personally can't do it.
As soon as I get scored on and everyone just like ragging on me, like to me, I would be like, dude, I can't be the punching bag. That's not fun. Like, sure, like guys banter in mine when I get scored on. They're like, oh, Papa, you suck. But it's not like everyone going like 90 people. Holy shit, Papa, you're horrible at this game. Like, to me, no, I can't.
You have to be good enough to. That's why, like. The thing about Deli and Josh back then is that there was like 3 people on the planet that could beat them regularly. So like the 100 and 200 people watching them hoping to lose, it just wouldn't happen. Like it doesn't, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't happen. That's why it's easier to handle because like he just doesn't lose. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Josh was so clutch. He'd be losing. Like he'd be down 2-1 in a game. He'd always find a way.
Dude, he passed out. I remember when he fell down in the GWC qualifier in like 2020. It was the COVID year. And I don't think I was calling it yet, but I was watching the series because Josh is a friend, and like it was must watch in this in this community, and he literally yelled so much that he fell down beside his bed, and he had like his face was just beating red. And he gets up and he's like, "Whoa, man!" He's like, I gotta take a second. This is on stream. Like he was a nutcase, and you know, I wish him nothing but the best. I think he's a teacher now, and God, we need another Josh Frios bad. But all right, so last thing, all right. MLB is around the corner, and there's a lot of people that don't care about MLB, but you will. I guarantee you. You will, if you haven't already. The thing I want to point out, the marketing for MLB has been very weird. Usually they are like money at promoting their game. It's been so much radio silence, and the gameplay trailer was dropped today. 30 seconds, and it's full cinematics of stuff we've already seen. And then a blog of about 5 things they're changing. And I was like... what's crazy is there wasn't really an outcry. And in it, it says, we actually think hitting is in a good spot based on community feedback from MLB 23. And for the most part, it is. And it got me thinking, like, could you imagine developers, and I don't know if we'll ever get like this, but in NHL, what happens? Every single year, the developers go back to the drawing board and they've got to reinvent something about gameplay. What if they just left it and let it like... The problem is now it's so scuffed, and we'll never enjoy it because in MLB, it's the only thing that really is not enjoyed is that when you don't hit your PCI right and it's a foul ball or not a perfect, it's not a home run when you expect it to be. In NHL, it's so subjective, and we're never going to get a spot where everyone enjoys it. But I mean, if we get to a point where 60% of the player base enjoys gameplay, or at least large portions of it, the reason why I don't think that they should not improve gameplay over a year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they should not look to reinvent things as opposed to smoothing them out, because what it allows a year-over-year company to do is focus on franchise mode, fix gameplay, fix modes, give us something to do in HUT. If they didn't have to spend a majority of their dev time on putting in like new goalie animations to stop, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like some sort of new like skating mechanic, like, it's like, imagine they didn't have to do that because gameplay was in a decent spot. And I'd love your take on that.
Oof. Okay. Well, even relating back to my last Thursday stream,
okay.
I was unhinged.
Mm-hmm.
So my first Hut Champs game, I've been playing like, I would say, like, quote unquote normal, like up until like, and in my first game,
Mention your new monitor. Mention your new monitor.
So I was like, okay, yeah, I bought a new monitor. I was like, okay, because my old one was
God,
like
you were
7
down
years
bad.
old. I bought a new one. I was like, I need to get a pristine monitor that's like 100% up
Why?
to date. And I was like, so I bought like a Gigabyte G27, so it's nice $300 monitor.
Yep.
And in my very first Hut Champs game, I just get absolutely screwed. Like, this guy hits 2 1-button Michigans on me, 2 forces.
Oh, no.
Are you guys seeing more
Absolutely
Michigans?
walled. And honestly, because usually when I'm losing, I get really quiet. Mm-hmm. And I get grumpy. Same. I don't lose my mind. I just get really quiet, and just, you can see on my face, like, oh, Papa's grumpy again. Oh, here we go, Papa. Oh, here he goes again. Grumpy Papa for the whole stream. And then I get to game 2, and I'm playing against. Well, I'll be nice. I was like the nicest way to put it, he was a moron. He was terrible. And all of a sudden, I go, I'm down 1-0 against him off of another force of nature guy, straight line down those boards, crosses that goal line, and he hucks it across the crease through 4 sets of legs and right in the back door, right in my net. And I'm like sitting there, and I'm like absolutely, like, I have a long fuse, but there's a lot of dynamite at the end of that fucking.
That's a great. Oh my God! I can't wait to use that.
So I'm right there, and then 1 minute later, all of a sudden I walk in, free catch and shoot, diving glove animation, and then as I'm going to shoot it, I also get the shove check, and I get a penalty. And I go off the screen for a second, and I come back, and I am tomato red. And I start screaming into the microphone. And I am absolutely seething, like full-blown explosion rage. I've never done that on stream before. I always make sure I'm like, I need to just, if I'm pissed off, I'm just gonna internalize it, and I'll end stream, and I'll, just I'll go to another day. I'll sleep it off, and it's not a big deal. No, I absolutely blew a gasket. I'll give the clip to Benny to use. But
Oh yeah, we're gonna need that clip.
Oh, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
And so then I was like, you know what? I'm going to give you exactly what the game wants for me to score goals. And the entire night, I just went straight line, huck it across the net, force. And I am scoring at will doing this. I was like, is this what you want from me, game? Because this is what I gotta do to score. And all of a sudden I match a guy in like my 8th game, and I'm still unhinged. Every game, I am like a psychopath in the way that I'm acting. Like I am just losing my mind. I matched this guy in my 8th game, and I lost him 4-3 last week, like the week before, and in Hot Champs. And also I'm like, and this guy was not very good, but like just got. This is a classic case of the just get EA'd, and I just went full-blown force mode. I just destroyed this guy 12-1, just hucking pucks across, and it didn't matter how many people were in the way. I was hucking across. There could have been, like, even as a joke, there could have been no one there, and I'd still huck it across. I'm like, this is all I gotta do, man. My chances will come. I just gotta keep hucking that puck to the middle, and I'm gonna keep scoring. And even one guy comes to my chat and says, hey, Papa, like, what do you do to score in this game? I was like, watch this. Immediately beeline down that fucking boards, and I huck it across, force it through 8 sticks, and into the back of the net. I'm like, that's all you gotta do. That's how you gotta play the game.
Did your wife hear you when any of this yelling was going on?
Well, I got a white noise machine. She's actually directly above me. That's where my master bedroom is. No, actually, somehow she does not hear me.
Was there any point where Sat busted in the door and said, "Well, hello, let me help you out
He can hear
here"?
me from his bedroom, and that's across the house on this like on the ground level here.
Oh God,
Oh, yeah,
I
no,
love it.
'cause-
I love it.
What do
That's
I
awesome.
do? And the guy is, well, hello.
Hello, here I am.
Well, actually, no joke. He's like, after like the 2nd game, I was like still like tomato red, pissed off. He comes up, he shows up, he opens the door into my garage, and he's just shirtless. He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's pretty funny. All right.
That's
Hey.
great.
That's awesome. By
I
the way,
love that.
Did you guys ever see the rage of How Did Chel? I have it on my YouTube, and I played him in a wager, and he like leaves the area, like kind of like you were saying, like leaves it, and then he comes back in and just drop kicks his chair. Like you just see his leg just like kick the chair. It's like it reminded me of that when you're like, I came back in. God,
Dude,
it's so funny.
So I just want to be clear with what I was saying earlier about gameplay. I do not think that they need to not improve it. It's not in a
Yeah.
good state. I'm just saying that, like, so NHL 22 is what we talk about, where it was very boring in the sense there was no it was basically waiting for something random, but there was no glitch goals or nothing. And it was very sim based and not arcadey at all.
22 is a perfect base to start at.
Yes, but
Bingo.
imagine they
Bingo.
just kept that and made 23, but instead of having to focus and tear down gameplay and put on new gameplay or whatever, you
New
just
goalies.
a new
Ugh.
strategy. Like if that is still the biggest gameplay change we'll ever see, is if they change something or they add in another strategy to behind the net crash and overload. If you added in 2 more, the game would be completely different because it would actually matter what you're doing. But nonetheless, we have a mess, and I just thought that was interesting because I saw when I was reading the MLB's blog post, it wasn't even this big hour-long video trying to sell me on the new gameplay being crazy. It was not much has changed, and I was like, okay, like because I enjoyed gameplay. Like I could only
Must be
imagine.
nice.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also much easier to make an MLB game than it is gameplay wise than hockey. I think that no, not giving any credit to EA, but like it is far more difficult to make a hockey video game than it is a baseball video game because you're literally just hitting X or whatever on a thing. But still, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Also, to end it, the greatest NHL rage moment that will never be topped ever in the history of YouTube and content creation. This is before my time, and I don't even know him. I wasn't around. I didn't get to see this live. I only saw it years later when everyone was telling me about the glory days. It is JGT.
Yep,
I think
I
that's
knew
his
it.
name. JGT, okay? He used to be a big-time HUT creator, NHL creator, versus guy. He was a very good player. at his desk. This is like 2015. Full glass desk, 2-hand slam, shatters everything. Monitor falls through, console falls through, and and I'm pretty sure he did it more than once. So that is, if you can find that clip, if maybe JGT's listening because he used to hop into my stream every once in a while over the last few years, that is the all-time NHL rage moment that will never be topped, and it is perfect.
I don't know. This one's pretty good the other day from our boy Louis.
You're not, bro. I'm still here trying to get you. I don't got no plates. I'm trying to. Yo, I didn't leave. My game crashed. You gotta understand, brother.
Louis is absolutely unhinged. Louis is my favorite person to ever watch. He is absolutely ever.
And if that came through crappy, I'm sorry, but go watch Way Up Gaming if you want to.
Louis on NHL was a treasure that we no longer get because NHL has literally forced him. He just hates it.
Him and Deli are the closest thing we have to Josh when it comes to pure rage. Honestly.
God.
Like it's just yeah. Like there's nothing better than watching somebody like in Brent. Like I feel for you in that moment because like we all go through it, but it's like there's nothing better than like if you just don't care about you're watching somebody like to watch them lose. It sounds so mean, but to watch somebody lose because it's like the rage that happens.
It's them living out everything that you go through, but you are mature isn't the right word. Maybe you can't freak out because you have a family. It is better. Exactly. They are doing everything that you've had a moment where you want to do. I'm literally using a chair that I did not start the year with because I had a dad rage where I tomahawked the arm right off my chair, and I would never do it on stream. So that is why you watch guys that freak out and you want to see them lose. That's part of the charm because deep down, there's been moments where you want to do exactly what they're doing, but you're an adult. So that is going to end our episode. Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening. And if you see any of the clips or anything like that Benny throws together from it, give them a like because then we know that he is doing his job and we can keep him around. All right, fellas, that'll do it for episode 93. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.